Hi, healthy bakers. It's the holidays and nothing screams Christmas like homemade fudge. We're going to do this the old-fashioned style, but without any canned or unhealthy ingredients. So I've got 1 cup of raw cacao powder, 2 cups of granular sugar swap, a little bit of Himalayan salt, and I'm using my hot plate here. And you make this on the stovetop. You're not going to use your oven at all in this recipe. I've got 2 egg swaps. Remember to reconstitute your egg swap with very hot water. Let's give this a little stir. And then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of pure vanilla extract. And 1/4 a cup of well-stirred room temperature butter swap. Remember, if you have trouble stirring your butter swap, put the entire jar into a blender and blend it on high until it's smooth. And after a quick blend, it'll stay nice and creamy for a couple months. So I'm going to go ahead and crank up the heat now. We're going to bring this fudge to a rolling boil. Let's make sure we have no lumps left in our mixture here. So I like a wire whisk for this. So in traditional old-fashioned fudge that uses sugar, you actually bring it to about 238 degrees and you don't touch it. And you just let it cook and then you let it cool without stirring it. But in this detox version, we have to do it a little differently. Now I've troubleshooted this recipe quite a few times to get the perfect fudge. Our sugar swap doesn't have the same boiling point or candy point. So this recipe really took some playing with to get it perfect. And so we're going to be left with a very low calorie, sugar-free fudge. It's vegan, it's keto, it's gluten-free, of course, but we're not using any of the traditional canned ingredients or sugar. But this is nice because you can make it on the stovetop, and it's actually really easy if you just follow these directions. So you can see now I've got a nice smooth fudge. I'm heating it on about medium high just until we get a boil. Then I'm going to reduce the heat. Okay, you can see now we have a nice rolling boil. I'm going to reduce my heat. I'm going to go to 4 out of 10. Okay, so on your stovetop at home, you want to be medium, like more towards medium than medium low. And we're just going to kind of watch it. We're going to stir it every couple of minutes. And right now, now that we've reduced the heat, we're going to set our timer for 25 minutes. So I'm going to set my watch timer and I'm going to just keep my eye on the fudge. I don't want it to burn. I'm going to continue stirring every minute or so, and it's going to reduce down by about half. And at 25 minutes, I'll be back and we'll show you what it looks like. Now we're about halfway into our cook right now, and you can see it's quite a bit reduced. And I'm continuing to stir it. Now, I'm not standing over this fudge constantly, but I'm also not going too far from it. So I'm making sure that I'm constantly kind of getting the lumps out of it. I'm not letting it burn. And this is looking really good. So we have about 10 more minutes left on this cook. Okay, we are at the end of our cook, and you can see how we have a very thick fudge happening. It's nice and smooth. I'd also like to point out, when we started, it had a very shiny, glossy look to it, and now the fudge looks actually a little more dull. And I think it's something that you'll notice when you're on your stovetop at home. It might be hard to see in the video. So I'm going to remove this from the heat now, put it on a wire rack to cool, and then we'll add in our last chopped ingredients. You can do hemp hearts or walnuts or toasted pecans, anything that you like in your fudge. You can also add in flavor extracts, hazelnut, mint, things like that. Okay, my fudge is probably a little bit cooler than I should have allowed it, but to say the least, it's nice and thick. And we're going to go ahead and fold in our walnuts. And then I've got a 9x5. It's kind of like a bread pan lined with parchment paper. I like thick fudge, so I'm going to press my fudge into the 9x5-inch pan. If you like more thin style fudge, use an 8x8 pan. And I'm just letting this fudge cool now on the rack. I'll stir it occasionally. We'll get this cooled for about 20-30 minutes, and then we'll fold in our nuts and pack it in our pan. Here we go. Fudge, still just slightly warm to the touch. And I'm going to go ahead and just press this evenly. I've got nice clean hands here, which makes it easy to press. Oh, they're not clean anymore. The spatula is a better technique here. So press this down flat, and then we're going to transfer our fudge uncovered to the refrigerator. Refrigerate overnight before we slice into our little squares and serve. So you saw how easy it was to make sugar-free, clean fudge for the holiday without even firing up your oven. All you need is a stovetop, some simple ingredients, and voila. This fudge stays so good once you've sliced it. Store it in an airtight container in the refrigerator or the freezer. In the refrigerator, it'll stay good for weeks. In the freezer for months. Okay, my sugar-free, vegan, gluten-free, canned ingredient-free fudge has been sitting in the fridge overnight, and I'm just gonna take a big knife and slice it into little squares. Yum, perfect fudge.